Welcome to OneLife, a podcast by BetterCo. Got my fellow two directors here, Alistair
Kia ora.
and Justin.
How's it going?
Welcome, gents. What is this podcast about? We're here to build a community. We want to spark conversations. We want to create engagement. We want to help people see that business is not easy, but it can work. And there's some fruit at the end of it. And what's the point if you don't make your one life the best it could be?
100%, mate.
And so what are we talking about today? Well, the new financial year is here, and it's one of those things where we've been having a conversation over the last few months about people with New Year's resolutions and all that sort of thing. And what we realize is that no one has this conversation about New Year. What's my New Year's resolution for business? So today's a little bit new year, new you, new business, and how to make this year a stronger year than last year. We've got a few talking points today. 3, hopefully, that we get through. And we'll be critically talking about several things in business and how all of that comes together to make a strong year. So first talking point that we've got is a reflection piece. And that's looking backwards. So what would you say is the best place, Justin, to start when you're looking backwards?
Oh, look, first and foremost, happy new financial year. It's always a bit of an accountant's joke, isn't it? Coming up to the 1st of April. So I've always been a reflection guy. I think you guys know that. I like to look back on successes and challenges, not only for business, but in your personal life as well. So I think for this first part, reflecting on the year that has been, the financial year that has been, for your business and our clients' businesses is important. Look, I think we all know that there were challenges last year for the calendar year 2024, but to look back and to see what was good, bad, and ugly, we talk about that at BetterCo, I think is important. But I think what we should really focus on today is some of the successful businesses and what they've done in the last year. Because it has been tough. So where have they succeeded? Yeah.
And it's really easy to go and read the paper and go down into the bottom and be part of that. But we see a lot of success too. And we like success. We like ambitious people. We like people who want to grow. We like people who want to be better, especially in business. And so, Alistair, what is something that one of your clients has done, something that's made them slightly more successful this year?
Yeah, it's really try to be different. Like if you look at the media, right, then you just like to say, okay, businesses are doing 20% better or 30% down from last year. But you don't have to be the average. That's my key takeaway. You can be different. You can do a bit more marketing, be sharper with your pricing or strategies, or create a completely unique product in that industry to really win. So if you're looking at an average bell curve, you don't want to be the average. If you have something a bit different, you're slightly sitting far away from the median.
Yes.
You can still run a very beautiful business and profitable business at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's not always doom and gloom. It's really where you shift your perspective.
Are you likely to be shot down if you're different in an industry? You know, we have the tall poppy syndrome in this country. We really do. I mean, I love seeing people do things differently. I really do, but that's me. But the average New Zealander likes to shoot those people down.
Yeah,
for
really,
being different.
and quickly, eh?
Yeah, and really quickly. So I think we can learn as a nation that it should be celebrated success, like
Yeah.
other people's success.
Yeah.
Because people in business have been successful last year,
Yeah.
but it hasn't probably been the norm for 2024.
It's just human nature, eh? Like someone's get jealous. You don't see each other as different players or same players in the same game to see each other as enemies. Really toxic mindset as a business owner. I highly discourage it because you start to pick out the negative side of things very easily. It's like the red card theory, you guys heard of it? It's all going around social media. If I ask you how many red cards you saw today, how many have you seen?
God knows.
Yeah, but I've told you, if for every red card you see, I'm going to give you $100.
Yeah.
I bet you're going to see a lot more red cards. So the red cards are basically the negative stuff out there. It really shows that whatever you focus on, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
If you focus on the negativity in businesses, you will find that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You don't see each other as different players or same players in the same game to see each other as enemies. Really toxic mindset as a business owner.
Mm.
I highly discourage it because you start to pick out the negative side of things very easily. It's like the red car theory, you know, you guys heard of it? It's all going around social media. If I ask you how many red cars you saw today,
Yeah.
how many have you seen?
God knows.
Yeah. But I've told you, if for every red car you see, I'm gonna give you $100.
Yeah.
I bet you're gonna see a lot more red cars.
Yeah.
So the red cars are basically the negative stuff out there.
Right.
It really shows that whatever you focus on, you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
If you focus on the negativity in businesses, you will find that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
And it's so
again,
easy in business, eh?
yeah, but if you find green cars, same thing. You find the good stuff that you
Yeah.
focus on.
So how many green cars have we seen this year?
Oh, I mean, interest rates are coming down. That's a
Yeah.
good sign. I'm a positive person. I see the good stuff.
Yes.
Business sale is getting pretty active out there, just
Yeah.
among business owners or business brokers. Just a bit of transition between people wanting to exit businesses and people wanting to get into it.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
brings me a memory. Towards the end of last year, I saw a client of mine. It was really interesting. I always challenge my clients on whether they should stick with the business and keep going for a number of years, or whether now's the time to sell and take the money off the table. And I always give them this interesting calculation that shows when you sell a business, you can take away, let's say, round numbers, it's $100,000. Well, let's say $1 million. It's probably more realistic. $1 million you've sold your business for. You're actually avoiding the pain of paying $500,000 of tax. That's how much you would have to make. You would have to make $1.5 million, pay your $500,000 in tax, and you're left with $1 million. So I always say to my clients, if you're going to make that $1 million over 3 years, is it better to just take the $1 million sale now and have that money in the bank and not work for 3 years? And so we challenge that, and we talk about it all the time with all of our coaching clients. And so one of my clients got approached, went and had a conversation, and just said, here's my number. And by the end of it, within 6 weeks or 8 weeks, the business was sold. We did a bit. They're really happy. The person who bought it's really happy. That's a win-win.
Oh, look, and I think there's other opportunities like that out there. There really are. People are getting to a position where they are looking to sell. Yeah, I think the business brokers will be pretty busy at this time of year as well. It's a new year, so there'll be people looking to sell. But I think there's plenty of opportunities out there for businesses right now.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think, oh, bad year, bad economy. Now's not the year to sell. And it's like, yeah, but if you're doing pretty well, it's a great year to sell. Yeah. And sometimes you need to have a few backdoor conversations to just tease it out, see what it's worth. Because what we're here to tell you is that there is success. There is plenty of success out there, and people have money to spend, and they want to buy good businesses. People want to own good businesses, and just give it a shot, see what happens.
Yeah, how many businesses do you think out there do reflect on their prior year? Do you think there's many? And if they do, what do they look at? Do they look at, their feelings? Like, how did they feel last year? Their
That's
wellness.
such a good one.
It really is because, we can talk about, what was your revenue? What were your margins? All of that sort of stuff. But actually last year, in reflection, how did you feel?
Yeah, that's a good take. It's not always about profit, right?
No.
You might make $1 million, $2 million, but if you're not happy, you're not spending any time with your business, it's burning you out, you're starting to resenting it. It's just not a bad run long term.
No.
Yeah, we're all about
so you
long game, right?
miss a few kids' sports games or key moments, and all of a sudden you go, oh, that wasn't worth it.
Absolutely. And then it comes down to your relationships, right? So your relationships with, your fellow directors, with your team, with your clients and your customers, with your family, it's like you have to reflect on those relationships that you've had and how they were for the last year as well.
Yeah. It's not all about money.
No.
Definitely isn't.
No.
Yeah, when you start to talk to more business owners, it really isn't about money. They think that it's about money,
Yeah.
but once they get there, say they want to make $500,000 or $400K, they get there, and what's next?
Yeah.
What's next year? Oh, you make more, and then what?
Mm.
Yeah, you always ask, what's next?
I don't know. I'll run this past you, but maybe the most successful business owners are the ones that have got time.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of time on their head. They've got more time than the person that's working the 60 or 80 hours a week,
Yes.
So instead of, they might be financially well off also, but they've got time.
Yeah. And money can't buy happiness, but I can tell you for free it can buy time.
Yeah, gone are the days when you're flexing about how long you work in corporate and getting burned out.
Yeah.
I think back then it's a whole capitalism era, right? You know, if you have a corporate job, you have a Rolex, you have a nice car, oh, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah. But
But
who cares,
nowadays,
right?
yeah,
If you,
since COVID, people are getting more woke in that sense.
yes.
Yes.
Everyone's quite quitting, you know, doing their own thing, quitting the corporate job, and that's something they flex about on social media. So I
Yes.
quit my corporate job. Now I'm working 2 days a week, making $1 million a year for my family.
Mm.
Even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
But
Reflection
just
is.
remember, it's all smoke and mirrors. You know? So everyone showcase their best life on social media
Yeah.
Yes.
and makes you think, oh, I'm working 6 days a week, making 50K a
Yes.
year. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're not doing well. You just have a different time frame.
There's a
Or
lot.
sometimes people are lying out there, you know.
Yeah, there's a
There
lot
are
of
that.
nonsense.
There's a
Yeah.
bit
For
of that.
sure.
And we
Yeah.
just watch LinkedIn. It's get your popcorn and just watch the comments say with all those people that are lying. It's
Definitely.
amazing.
I've got one final piece of reflection, and then I think we can move on to the next point. But I wrote down here client retention. So in the past year, when you reflect, has there been any churn? Have you lost clients? Have you brought on a whole bunch of new clients? So I think looking back and looking ahead to the new year, less turnover of customers and clients, and bringing on new clients is important as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people talk about growth
Mm.
and growth as a measure of success, but I always use the analogy revenue is vanity. And so everyone's chasing that revenue growth, but it's just vanity.
Yes.
And then they talk about, oh, yeah, I'm profitable. And yeah, that's sanity. I got to be profitable, but cash flow is reality.
Yeah.
And so growth, great. But on reflection, did you make more money? Did you have less stress? Did you have more time? I think is a important
Yeah.
reflection piece. So just those three things,
Yeah.
did it all work out?
100.
What if you had a great year and cash flow sucked?
Oh, yeah.
That would be hard.
Just borrow more money. Get more debt or more equity.
All right, so let's move to our next topic. Our next topic is about a little bit about planning, I guess. And we're at that point where it's year end or it's new year, and it's like you got to reflect on the past, but you've also got to almost like refocus. I would say.
Yep.
And we're currently doing a lot of refocusing. I would say, and we do it all the time, but I don't think there's any better time than a new year to refocus and look at after you've done your reflection, where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, people are planners. I mean, we fortunately we're planners by nature. We love planning. We plan way more than we need to, but it's yeah, but we achieve
for the plan.
a lot through that planning process, right? But look, if you're a one-man band, it can get pretty lonely, and you just need a reminder to do. So if you're a single, sole trader or a single director or shareholder running a business, my advice to you is to block out time. Really, just give yourself no excuses. Block out at least a day to do a bit of goal setting for your business and what you're trying to achieve too. Otherwise, you get stuck in the weeds. 50 more emails came through today and you just get lost in time. So you really got to set time and give yourself the permission to do this thing.
How does someone structure that as say you're a sole owner
Mhm.
and say you've never done it before?
Yep.
I'll block the time out. Cool. Wednesday, whatever.
Yep.
That day. What's next?
Yeah, so obviously use ChatGPT. If you don't know the answer, don't know how to use it, talk to us. But like I say, if you can afford it, pick a business coach. A
Okay, so
really
get someone outside to
Yeah.
what do you like facilitate it?
just for accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell your wife and your partners and your friends all the time, but you really need that professional person to be one independent and second keep you accountable.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you say you got a goal to hit, what happens if you don't? What are the consequences of not hitting that goal?
I don't like consequences.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's so important because it can be lonely.
Yeah,
I was a
that's
sole
right.
practitioner once, when I first started in practice, and it was lonely. I think some people don't know how lucky they are when they've got fellow directors or business
Yes.
partners that they can actually just knock a few things over, and you can, work through some issues that you may be having within your business. So I think, and some people may not be able to afford a coach as a sole trader or a sole practitioner,
Yeah.
but there are people out there that you can talk to, mentors that you can actually reach out to. And even if it is, like, it could just be an uncle, it could be an
Yeah,
uncle or
someone with
a good
experience.
mate. Yeah, exactly.
Because if you're doing it for the first time, you don't have a method.
Mhm.
So yeah, great to have a block out your day, get a coach or a mentor or someone. But I think the key is to have some sort of structure to that day
Mm.
and go, all right, I'm going to spend this many minutes on this part of the business, this many minutes on this part of the business, and I would argue that one of the best things to do is to do your personal goals first with your friends and your family or whoever,
Yes.
Yes.
kids, and then do your business one after that.
Yeah, it has to align with each other.
Yeah, because if you do your business one first, feels a bit ass about face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. No,
One
I know
tells you got to
exactly what you're
spend more
saying.
time with your kids. The other one says you got to spend more time in the business. So
Yeah.
one way or the other, it's gonna bounce.
Yeah.
Because the business is there to serve you, not the other way around.
Yes, 100%.
Like full stop.
There you
Yep.
go.
So
There
you
you go.
gotta figure that out first.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Get permission from the family
Yeah.
and yourself.
So what are you saying is that personal goal setting has to align with your business future goals also. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And use numbers to back it, right? There's programs like Zero and MYOB and QuickBooks. I mean, we use Zero here, but there's data in the system for your reflection for last year.
Mm.
So whatever goal you didn't hit last year, it's there in the numbers.
Yeah.
And you can look at it pretty quickly or with your accountant's help
Yeah.
to
Okay.
do reflection. And then all the boring stuff, the accounting stuff, what do? You obviously your stock taker for your stock-based businesses, review your costs, expenses, whether you can shave down margins through your suppliers, review your pricing that we talked about. And also look at expenses that you can buy. If it's under $1,000, you need a few cups for your office meeting rooms. And
Yeah, because on that day you could actually do the review or
Yes.
plan how you're going to review over the next few weeks or months, right? Like it's just a day. As a business owner, it's just one day. Like
Yep.
you it's probably not the day to do the digging. Maybe it's the day to plan out your digging. So
Yes.
like one of the biggest things I find people where they make the biggest change or the biggest impact is when they go have a meeting with the bank, a
Yes.
proactive meeting with the bank. And what I mean by that is the bank's generally not going to contact you, right? So just reach out to the bank and say, hey, can I please have a meeting? Even if you don't know who your account manager is, you just reach out to the main business at
Yes.
bank.nz and just reach out and say, hey, can I have a meeting? And if they ask what about, just to say, to review my finances and my opportunities.
Yeah.
And then you book that in.
Yes.
So that's like that opens up a whole lot of doors to then go and have more conversations.
Yeah.
If you don't have fuel in the tank, you can't go anywhere. And in business, the fuel is the money, the cash flow, and the bank's the ones with it.
Correct.
So go and have that meeting and then see what happens
Yeah,
after that.
we've spot some wins there in the last few years. Obviously, people go to third-party lenders like Prosper or Zip and many others, MTF. And the main banks are actually able to consolidate these loans pretty quickly and shave down your interest rates.
Yes.
So it's a good strategy to talk to with your accountant to relook at it for the first year. So if you're getting charged 15% on a car loan and the main bank could offer 9%, that's 6% tax savings.
Yeah. And if you got $1 million of debt and you've shaved off 2% for whatever reason, that's 20 grand.
Yeah, without working harder, just working
Yeah.
smarter.
Yeah. So I think some sort of review of banking and the next step would be other key suppliers. Like your bank is one of your key suppliers.
Yes.
Right? And then just check your other top 3 suppliers and
Yes.
again, just ask for a meeting.
Don't ask, don't get,
Yeah.
with these.
Yeah, and it could be your insurances, both personal and business, just having a look over those. And even your power bill, you could go through all of your list of expenses just to make sure that everything's in order for the year ahead, As we said before, it's all about planning and making sure that especially on your expenses side, that you're doing everything right, paying the right amounts.
But one thing to keep in mind is you can look at all your expenses and minimize your costs all you can, but you got to think about opportunity costs as well. Because we see a lot of business owners, they get into the mistake of scrimping on costs, just a bare minimum. You're scrimping on that $1 or $2 each month. But actually, the bigger picture is what is your growth strategy? How are you going to get more revenue? So you don't have to worry about these money scrimping stuff. Yeah. Pay a good lawyer. Don't cheap on your accountant, and just actually look at a big picture and how much they could bring you as a business.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was at a kid's birthday party yesterday, and me and another dad were talking about marketing, and he's in marketing and he's in lead generation, and what he's finding is that so many people want more leads and they want to grow their business, but they're just being really honest, and they're saying, we want to work with you, but your brand's not quite up to scratch.
Mm.
And we would prefer you go and sort your brand first and then come back to us, because we think you could spend half as much
Yes.
and we could get you twice as far.
Yes.
But that brand piece could be 5 grand,
Yes.
10 grand,
Yes.
20 grand,
Yes.
like depending how big you are.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to do these foundational things
No.
year on year.
Mm.
But I think a new year is like one of those things, and go, am I happy with my brand? Do
Yeah.
I like the way it looks?
Yeah.
Does it help me bring in a new team member?
Yes.
Does it help me bring in clients? Does it help me have a greater conversation with the bank?
Mm.
If you've got a bad brand or a brand that doesn't work, I think it's just got to go.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make, because quite often with these businesses, they've been their baby, that they invented this. But you're right, sometimes it comes a point in time where you just need a refresh, and you really do need to look at that.
Yeah.
But I think, that whole marketing thing's an interesting one for me because, and this might be slightly off topic, but there's probably so much value still in your existing customers and your existing client base as well. So rather than chasing that new client, that new client or that new customer to come through your door, just nurturing your existing customers that you've got can actually help you, and that's part of the planning piece for the start of a new year as well.
And that's where reflection and refocus works, right? Like you said, look at your churn rate, your client retention and customer retention, and how much of each product you might have sold or whatnot, and then
Yes.
go, could I do better than that this year with the current customer base, and where are my new customers going to come from?
Yes.
So I could almost, everything I see these days, I'm pretty sure people can do more with less of the customer base,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yes.
more revenue, less people.
Yes. But not only that, it's like when they're doing that work for those customers that they've already got and they're doing a very good job, that's where your referrals are going to come through the door anyway, So you're not going to be spending so much on marketing because because the people that you're working with that are your customers and clients are your marketing team. If you're doing a good job and they tell their mates, right?
That's that whole word of mouth piece.
Yeah.
Still works in New Zealand.
Yeah.
2 degrees of separation.
Oh man. No, that's good.
All right, let's keep moving. Our last topic is more about not just the year, but strategic planning of, say, 3 years or 5 years, or that whole longer term, which we've spoken about so much. But we want to almost get down to the nitty gritty of what does strategic planning look like.
Yes.
If we had to tick off a few things in our strategic plan day, for example, what are we going to look at?
And how far out do you have to look?
Yes.
Is it 20 years? Is it 10? Is it 2 to 3 to 5? What is it?
Well, I think there's that first thing. I think it was Jeff Bezos who said this or something like this, is that, you can look at 10 years and where you think you'll go in 10 years will definitely be less. But where you think you'll go in 1 year, you could definitely go more and achieve more in that 1 year. So it's probably somewhere between 1 and 10 years for me. Like we've always looked at 3 years and 3 years, 3 years, 3 years. Whereas when we started to do our 3 years this time, I sat there going, it's not enough for me. I need to go a little bit further. And can I plan with certainty on those 4th or 5th years?
Yes.
Obviously not. But can I shoot the dart and hit the dartboard? Yeah, I think so. I think we can get some sort of sense out of a 4th and a 5th year this time.
Yeah.
With lots of people just go 1 year, another year.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah, it's too scary that way. There's too many uncertainties.
So how do we help people strategically plan? What are some of the things they have to do?
Yeah, well, the question that I always start with is like, what's your end game? Which is quite broad and open, right? It really is. But I think it gets people thinking, shoot, well, quite often they haven't been asked that question for a start. And then they go, shoot, what is my end game? Because most people just don't know. And then if they don't know, you can sort of say, yeah, well, if you don't know what it is, let's work through that. But then what sort of time frame are you working to? How old are you? Are there any milestones that you want to reach by a certain point in time? So you can just break it down into parts then, you know? So if it is a 10-year horizon that, you know, they want to get out of their business, what does your business need to be worth at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
And what can we do between now and then strategically to help you get there?
Yeah. And lots of businesses, and this is where strategy comes in. You might not want to get rid of the whole business. You might not want to, like sell it or whatnot. And if you're at a pivotal point in your life, what you might want to do is just strategically shrink it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're near where you want to be, let's say you want 100 grand a year and you currently make 300 and you've got lots of stress, but you've got no debt. Let's say you've got a few offices or restaurants or construction here and there. And
Yes.
maybe you just consolidate
Yeah.
and maybe you just simplify. And that's your next 5 or 10 years. Happy days.
Yes.
Or if you've got more time and you're not quite where you want to be, maybe you go harder. Maybe you go wider. We've seen a few clients this year go wider
Yes.
because a lot of people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strategy in itself.
Yep.
Opportunity and risk.
And that's a beautiful thing about business. You get options, right? It's not a stick salary where you have to do this set things to hit your target or bonuses. If you're a business owner, you get so many options, whether you want to sell next year, expand, buy up acquisition, or expand vertically or horizontally in your pillars, which is awesome.
And that's where like strategy. That's strategy, not bloody BS. Just take whatever's on the table when it comes to you, because nothing comes to you in business. If it does, you're lucky. But strategy comes with that's defining what it is you want and then how you're going to get it.
Yes. Yeah. It's those light bulb moments, you know, and at the start of a year is so good because you get that light bulb moment, you go, yes. It's a feeling of positivity to take you into that new year, which is so good. And you can see where your future lies. Yes, you're going to be going up and down throughout those years, but at least you've got a clear goal in mind for you and your business.
No, I think the whole thing has to be exciting as well.
Definitely.
Strategy should be exciting, not boring.
Yeah.
If your strategy is boring, then maybe the goals aren't big enough or it's not quite linked to your personal goals. But
depends on what type of person you are. Some people might like boring.
yeah, I know, but doing the strategy should be exciting.
Yes,
exciting
I'm with
part
you.
is what I mean.
Well, the dangerous thing is people live life by default, right? Same with business owners. You wake up every day, you clear your emails, you do the same thing over and over again over 10 years. If you're lucky, you do an exceptional job and you get referrals and you get new businesses and you grow organically. That's the trap that a lot of people get into. It's nothing wrong with that if you're happy with it. But some people are not happy with it and they still live life by default and then they don't do anything with it. So you've got options as a business owner. You know, you can expand really quickly or as slow as you want, but at your own pace as well. So if you want to go fast, I really recommend you get a business coach, live life by design, not by default. Set accurate plans and goals, review your actual to-dos, you know, what's achievable, what's your KPIs, and have regular check-ins, even every quarter at a bare minimum or every month, and just keep you accountable to that goal.
Just revert back to that original plan. Yeah.
And do your business by design and live your best life, you know, it can be fun.
Yeah, I was, as you were saying that, I was going to say people let life happen to them rather than go out and do it themselves and make it about themselves.
Yeah, if you're not happy, change it. Yeah, so many ways. Easier said than done, obviously, but with support and help.
Everyone can do it.
Yeah. Well, it's a mental blockage, right? People go through hard times and depression, and sometimes it is harder to get out of the hole than we think.
Yeah, but this is probably controversial, but I think, again, like if you let it happen to you, you're more likely to end up in that doom and gloom shithole space.
Yeah, it's a fear. I think people have a fear that they're going to fail.
Or fear of change sometimes.
Fail, change, So, but I think, that the majority of people that do go out there and do start their own business, you know, that first step is really painful. But once they get through it and they employ their first person and all of that after that, it's just so rewarding. It really is. Yeah, but it is. There's a fear out there.
Yeah, there's a bit of trauma in the last few years since COVID. You know, a lot of failed businesses, failed ventures, you know, industries not doing particularly well. And I've seen behavior changes over those time. Came through positive, chip and cheerful, and right now they get a bit, you know, hard to deal with, and they get a bit finger pointy. It's all psychology.
Yeah. strategy is great, but strategy without action is a complete waste of time.
It's just dreaming.
yeah, dreams. Yeah, like we say, goals without action are just dreams.
Yeah, it's like Shia LaBeouf. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just remember that back in the days. Just do it.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta take time, set out, and do that. Yeah, great. But mate, I don't give two shits unless you're actually taking some action.
Yeah. Oh, it pisses me off. People do a business planning session and then
Yeah.
they'll have this like 3 or 4 page business plan. It just goes in the bottom drawer and there's no actions after it. You know,
Yeah.
what use is that? You know, you've got to have, regular check-ins, being held accountable to your plan rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it and putting it in the bottom drawer.
Yeah.
Complete waste of time.
Yeah. I don't know those people. Can't deal with those people. I think the key, one of the key things to taking action is sharing.
Mm.
So if more than one person knows about that plan or that strategy or action, I think that's really important. So one of the things we like to do is share with our team the strategy and the plan. So we've got more buy-in, and then it's always a bit of a sniff test, if they smell bullshit and like, oh, it's too hard or it feels a bit too panicky or a bit too fast or a bit too slow, we can go and get that sense check from them.
Yes.
They're at the cold face of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, before you put that plan in place, a goal in place, you kind of test. Oh, if I say it to my team tomorrow, does it sound way off, or is it dreaming, or is it
Yeah.
realistic?
Mm.
So
How scared are you? of saying it?
Right.
Yeah. So get some feedback, maybe.
yeah.
Feedback's really key, I think. Yeah, and I just strategy is great. It's got to be designed. Share it, make sure it's defined, and I always think simple is best.
And don't be afraid to gamify it. Make it fun. If
Mm.
you say you're going to set out these 3 goals, you can do it with your partner, your accountant, your best mate, or your other mate in business. If we don't hit it, what's the penalty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you shout each other a round of beers or dinner?
Yeah,
Yes.
you
Or
still
go
owe me
overseas?
dinner, and
I do.
Justin.
Yeah, we did a game. We say, okay, we're going to release 3 videos or talking heads on LinkedIn. Whoever didn't do those videos got to buy dinner.
Yes, I
Yeah.
just
And I
remembered.
did 2 1 month. And
Thanks
just
for reminding
gamify,
me.
make it
Good
fun,
work.
right? If you're alone, do it with your mates, your other network in business, and just play the same game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's great.
and if you get distracted or you get a bit off track or whatever, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you've got it on paper. You just
Mhm.
review it. You got reflection.
Yep.
Stick to the plan. Always give a strategic plan time.
Yes.
Don't keep changing it. That's why it's called a long-term plan.
Yes.
That's why we document and it should always be a little bit scary.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
is it big? Is it hairy? Is it audacious?
Yeah.
And once it is, I think that's a plan.
Yep.
If it's too easy, I don't know. It just feels like
Cruising.
yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to working with our clients and new clients that come on board with their strategic plan for the next year, and it doesn't have to be, full on. It really doesn't. But I think as long as you're analysing what you do and you've got a plan for the next year, the start of a new financial year is perfect. Perfect timing. You've got no excuses. Let's do it.
Yeah. And the benefit of using us is we see a magnitude of businesses within our client base of 1,000. So we could easily pick out or give you a sense check that, look, does this sound about right?
Yes.
In your industry, our other clients grow about 20% a year. You're trying to grow 60, 80%.
Yes.
You can't do stock standard status quo stuff. You've got to go through a quantum growth. And what is the strategy to achieve that quantum growth? Let's do that. Yeah.
And also there's benchmarking tools that you can
Yes.
use in industry as well. So you
Yeah.
can actually see how you're going in your industry.
Yeah. It's
So-
free.
Yeah. and like, plumbers in an area or, a lawyer or architect, what are the charges that your competitors are
Yeah.
in your area that you're located? So that's awesome to know that you're sort of on the right track
Yeah.
and where you're positioning yourselves with your competitors. It's great.
Yeah. On that too, I always we all get asked that question. Oh, what's the standard? And I'm like, yeah, standard sounds like average. Do you want to be average? So we spoke about
Yeah.
before. So I don't care.
But if you're not average, we can bring you to average pretty quickly.
Yeah, first. Yeah,
with
let's do that
numbers.
first.
Mm.
No, great point. Okay, so let's talk about reflection and refocus. Let's just do some high level recap there. So I think the first thing is a reflection. Justin, you spoke about how you feel is really important. Relationships with your team, with your family, customer and client retention. Anything else you want to wrap up with that?
Oh, it's just important to look back, to move forward. I've always said that, you can learn so much, both good and bad, from what's happened in the past. And it's just a good time of year, being the new financial year, to actually relook at that. So, and don't beat yourself up either. There's always going to be some positives. It's not always going to be doom and gloom and negative. There will be challenges, of course, but you can, start the new year on the right foot.
Yes. No good skipper was made in smooth seas. There you go.
That's the one.
Got to have rough seas to be good.
That's the one.
Alistair, so we had good conversation there about, it's a new year. What are some things people do to have a better year this year?
Yeah.
You spoke about accountability, independence. We also spoke about doing personal goals first, review key suppliers, brand marketing. Anything else you want to round that out with?
Yeah, just review your risk as a business. Business is all about managing risk and how to get a dollar out of it, right? If you don't manage your risk well, which is mainly your team or your customers, then you really got to start to run some processes and systems in place and make your business sellable. If it's a good business with solid processes and a good team, it's always sellable the next day.
Yeah, fantastic. And then lastly, we talked about strategy and long-term planning. We talked about defining your end game, really important. And then what I loved to hear was live your life and your business by design and not by default. I think that's really impactful. Setting check-ins, getting feedback on that strategy, and then taking action. Is there anything else on strategy?
Go forth and conquer.
Yeah,
for sure.
and you can do it, right? Just do it. Everyone can do it. We've all got similar opportunities. Removing equality and equity and all of that stuff. Anyone can do it. Give it a crack. I think that's really important. So thanks for listening to us. We love to ramble. We love to chat. But yeah, anyone can do it. So this is hopefully a enlightening conversation that you can take these points and go and discuss that with people inside your business, your friends, your family. See what they think about where you should be going over the next 12 months, where you should be going over the next 3 years. If you want to hear more, you can follow the BetterCo socials. Just search up BetterCo Advisory and Accounting, and you should see a whole bunch of stuff there, some resources, website, and we're always here. Always here just for that conversation.
Awesome.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.